We're back now with Conversation Nation. Joining me tonight, Mike.com's Elizabeth Plank, HuffPost Live host Josh Zepps, and political strategist Angela Rye. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I want to start with this top GOP strategist thanking the Democrats. The top dog at the Republican Senate Committee says, "Way to go, Democrats." They, quote, sidelined their best messenger by running from President Obama. He went on to say, quote, "They were so focused on independence that they forgot they had a base. They left their base behind. They became Republican light." Angela, amazing comments. So did Democrats make a mistake running away from the president?
No question. We've said this ad nauseum.
Well, how can Republicans see it and Democrats couldn't?
Blind to the facts? I'm not sure, Rev. I think at the end of the day, people thought that they needed to cater to a population of people that may not ever be in our voting block. The reality of it is the Democratic Party is the big tent party for a reason, and we can't forget about the rest of the people in the tent to go chase some folks that are not there.
They're not even in the yard outside, Josh. But
it's also just this incredible excess of political caution that we see at the moment.
Sure.
There's no sense of actually being an individual or talking about issues outside of political cliches. Look at Alison Lonergan Grimes in Kentucky, a state where Obamacare is actually popular, where she could have run on Obamacare, she could have associated herself with Obama. Instead, she wouldn't even say whether or not she voted for him in 2012. This is the politics of let me just stand very still and hope that I blend into the background and maybe no one will see me like a cuddlefish.
But Liz,
and then they'll somehow
didn't even work.
Well,
it didn't even work.
And to me, it's very interesting that he would say, that Rob Collins would say that this is Republican light. I think Republicans actually ran on platforms that were Democratic light. We saw very radical candidates like Scott Walker, Joni Ernst, actually run on very progressive policies.
But that was when they got to the general, because in the primaries, they were almost Tea Party light.
Well, exactly, but what does that say about how the country feels about progressive policies, how the country feels about what Democrats have been saying all along, you know, minimum wage, policies that aren't anti-choice. All of these things were very popular.
But isn't that the point, that if the popular policies are in fact what the people wanted, if they didn't run away from the policies, they were the natural ones to represent those policies.
And that's just the thing. So we have to keep going back to the ballot initiatives that made it onto ballots all over this country. 5 of them, 2 of them are, well, we don't know what's going to happen in Alaska yet, but Arkansas, we know what happened.
Right.
Mark Pryor lost, but minimum wage won.
Yeah, the voters have spoken, and the voters are saying they want progressive policies and they want Republicans to...
Minimum wage passed in several states. Personhood went down. I mean, where are these people that are running getting their advice from? And now you have a Republican strategist thanking them and saying they were Republican right?
It's the same thing. You know how there was a GOP autopsy report? The Democrats need one now, because you keep hiring the same folks, pollsters that have the percentages off. They were wrong. You don't go after people that of color. Young people sat out in some states.
We saw this same problem happen in Al Gore's presidential campaign. We saw the same problem happen in Hillary's campaign. It's this extreme poll testing. You know, Mark Udall says, okay, let's just talk about women's reproductive rights because that's something that plays well with the base.
And not the economy.
But what about the economy? What about Obama?
The GOP's running on the economy. The last time they did that, and they took the House in 2010, the 3 first policies that they passed were anti-choice legislation. So to me, this is like wolf, you know, in sort of a sheep's clothing. They're pretending like they're
in Democrats' clothing.
Well, but who knows what they're going to do once they're in power?
But don't you think the president could have articulated these policies? Don't you think the president could have energized
But he can't do it without being invited.
No.
Wait.
Sorry.
Don't you think the president could have energized a base that became lukewarm because people was running away from him, Angela?
Yeah, and I think that in the places where he went, he did. All they had to do was literally utilize the same talking points about his accomplishments that he's been touting for the last full year about growth in the economy, private sector job growth. There are all of these, and minimum wage, which he chose to raise by executive order for the executive branch.
Josh, a lot of people on our social media, Twitter and all, very upset. I've been raising sand since whenever. I mean, this is outrageous to me. It's betrayal.
I think it's part of this hunkering down and this extreme attention to detail, this desire to never step out of the box, to never do anything risky, to only focus on poll-tested, basically talking points, instead of taking a big picture, being an authentic human being, an authentic candidate, talking about your relationship with the president, accepting that the president isn't that popular at the moment, maybe, but I stand with him because I'm a Democrat. People aren't going to just fail to notice that you're a Democrat.
Let me ask you, I got to move on, but is this a forecast for 16? Are we starting to see a new form of triangulation in the form here?
No, I mean, 2016 is going to be completely different because we have an different demographic of people voting. 13% of the electorate was young people. That is so low, and that will be very different in 2016. So I think, sure, Republicans can celebrate all they want, but it's going to be very, very...
All right, we'll talk about that as we get closer to 16. But now to an amazing story. The man who shot Osama bin Laden is revealing himself for the first time. He's Robert O'Neill, member of the famed SEAL Team 6, and he's the guy that fired those 3 shots that forever changed our world. The 38-year-old from Montana was on the team for 16 years. He went on more than 400 combat missions and killed more than 30 targets. On an upcoming TV appearance, he's expected to talk about the raid and the training. The Pentagon is reportedly furious and have warned he could face criminal prosecution, saying it goes against the SEAL Code of Conduct, which states, I do not advertise the nature of my work, nor seek recognition for my actions. Josh, the man is an American hero. Should he face punishment for revealing his identity?
Of course he should, but he won't. He has broken the law. I mean, this contravenes, just even the morality of this contravenes for me everything that the SEALs are supposed to stand for, everything that the military is supposed to stand for, which is not self-aggrandizement, which is not selling out, which is not self-glorification. It's supposed to be about higher principles than that. He is revealing, look at how we go after NSA whistleblowers.
Right.
Okay? And they are doing something out of principle, not necessarily out of self-aggrandizement. Here's a guy who is divulging state secrets. I mean, under Article 92 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, he could be tried and he could be dishonorably discharged. He could go to jail. He should at the very least lose his pension and lose his health benefits.
But apparently,
this is abysmal.
But apparently, Angela, he's a few years, as father's interview, he's 4 years short of his pension. He needs money.
Right. And I think...
I mean, at one level, I hear Josh, at another level, should a hero like that leave the military with no pension and no money?
I don't think that that's the answer either. At the same time, isn't this like the million-dollar question? We talk about this all the time with our veterans. Veterans come back, not only in 2014, but think about years ago when men of color fought in the war and they came back shamed and still had to drink out of separate water fountains. I think at the end of the day, folks have to figure out a way to treat our military heroes as such. I don't think that this is the answer either.
This is total hubris. Do you seriously believe he couldn't have gotten a job at a private security firm?
Well, he couldn't, and he couldn't get his benefits.
Oh,
he had to wait a year to get those benefits.
He has the greatest credential that any military person could possibly have. He was involved. Yeah, but he can say secretly to a person who's employing him at a private security firm.
Well, maybe that's the thing for all those.
The fact that
I feel like I'm fighting for you.
The fact that the man who has killed Osama bin Laden cannot find a job with the level of skill and expertise that he has, I think is really, and it illustrates just the problem that we have in our country, where we don't have the infrastructure to reintegrate these people into society and to find them jobs. I don't blame him for wanting to make a few extra bucks.
A few extra bucks?
Well, to make some money.
Well,
he is a hero.
He's already doing public speaking.
I'm going to have to close it right there.
Come on, Rev.
Did you hear that Michael Jordan said that the president's golf game was not that great? Well, the president is hitting back. You'll want to hear this one. Also, we'll look at what compromise really means in Washington. Stay with us.